From Omaha, Nebraska to New York City. From planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space. A podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Switch is on. Motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
You know, Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battle Line Podcast.
The Switch is on, Battle Line Podcast, and yeah, I'm Ian Scotto, Chris Peranto on with me.
Hey guys, what's going on?
And we're doing pretty much an unplanned guest-free show just because we had some things fall through, but we also haven't done one in a while, and I enjoy discussing what we're both up to, and I think people were even interested in how you're healing from the injury, and when we talk about this stuff, we end up having to like rush through it so quickly to get to a guest. So I like being able to kind of just...
we haven't had one in a while, like just me and you, which we try to do one once a month, and really we haven't had the opportunity to. Granted, I don't think I've been on like a full month for a while, like I've been. So maybe if we look at the numbers, it could be like, we haven't done one in about 4 times since Tano's been on. But no, these are great, man. And they're easy, and for us, and I think anything that you enjoy doing should be easy. So if it's so that's not a bad thing. And we give us a chance to talk and answer some emails, and I don't know, maybe we do an Instagram live after this, because these we usually can our last few shows, it's hard to tell a World War II vet from the Battle of Bastogne, hey dude, we're on for like 2.5 hours. We we're not the Team House, okay? We don't sit on for 12 hours. Nothing against the Team House. I love Dave, I love Dave over there, and I do love Jack, but that's just not what we do. But
I could tell you about that last night.
You should talk about it. I mean, and give Team House a shout out, because they do a great job over there. Jack and Dave are, man, they're fucking Ranger brothers. They do good shit. They have a good podcast, a really good podcast over there.
Yeah, I agree. We could get into that. We don't really have many emails, because I actually looked. A lot of the emails were from a while back, and it's stuff that might not be relevant right now.
Oh, we can answer anyway. We got time. I mean,
I'll see what we get to. Actually, not to be like super self-indulgent here, but if you don't mind, I'll tell people what's going on in my life. Of course,
be self-indulgent.
Yeah, because I gave people an update on what was going on with me, and a lot of that has changed. So I'll try to give the Cliff Notes version of it. Basically, the month that Chris was away and I moved from Connecticut to New York, I was very one-track minded on like, I need to get another major career going, because I do a lot of different things and make it work, whether it's the stuff with Rockable with Dylan and this, and at the time doing Tom the Neans podcast. And as this was going on, I met up with a guy named Adam in Long Beach who runs a company called Nidus, and he's very well versed on Web3, cryptocurrency, and I was going to be his executive assistant, and we really hit it off. And the thing was, like, what stands out to me about your resume is I want to really get into doing a podcast, because he's like, there's not a lot of good podcasts out there on blockchain, cryptocurrency, Web3, and this is a guy who does cybersecurity for like all the major banks. Really interesting guy. And the funny thing about him that he says is, he's very open about this. He's like, I'm a 7 foot tall, like heavily tattooed guy. I do not fit the description of what people think of in that field. And he's like, I want to lean into that a bit and kind of use that as my persona in this field and stand out from the crowd. And you just know when you hit it off with someone. Like, we talk about it all the time, and you're like, this is a great guy to work with, and I like what we're doing, and we have great energy. Like, I love his whole family. I sent you the video of, he's got his kids around the house and his wife and like the dog, and you just a great all-around dude. So anyway, as that was happening, and as I started working for him, I got a call from Deneen Borelli, longtime friend and longtime supporter of Tonto. And she had this, she was able to help me get a job at Newsmax. And that's why I said to you guys, hey, I'm going over to Newsmax. But I'll be honest, in the back of my mind, I was very reluctant to leave Adam, because I was like, this is a job I really like. However, Newsmax is like an incredible amount of money, and I'd be stupid to turn this down. But long story short, you kind of got to go with your gut, and I don't want to say anything bad about the company because they gave me like an amazing offer. And I have nothing bad to say, but it's two things really. Chris knows this. Like, I am so checked out of the political world. I don't like being obsessed with that 24/7, and going back into it was ridiculous for me. Like, the hours were absolutely crazy. I think this podcast would have ended up being scrapped because my life would have to be basically Newsmax. That's just the way it was with the hours. And then, yeah, what was the other thing I was going to say about it too? The hours, the politics of it.
I don't know that we talked about the politics part, which is both you and I feel the same way. And we're just.
I know what it is. I'll tell you this,
unhealthy,
man. And this kind of goes back to, like, I haven't worked for a big corporation in many years at this point. And that changed really when I got hired by Brandon Webb full time to work at SoftRep. And I think you've probably experienced this, and I've experienced this. Like, once you have the freedom to be your own boss and to kind of make your own hours and be motivated to get things done and not have to like answer to someone and be in an office with all these people and be in that setting, like, it's very hard to go back. And it's especially working in New York City, the commute I have to make from Long Island. I don't really like being in the city. I love Long Island. I'm a very Long Island guy through and through. And it's almost like you escape the matrix when you get to do your own thing, and you may take a pay cut not working for a major corporation and not getting those benefits. But I realized, like, if I do these three things, this podcast and my stuff with Dylan for Rockable, who's also helped out our podcast.
Oh yeah, Dylan does a great job. I love getting a check from Dylan, not knowing what the hell it's for. It's like, that's cool. Thanks, Dylan. He does a great job over there.
Yeah. And I like when we have videos that he promotes out, and I'm like, how the hell did this get like 40,000 views? Or like, he just knows how to target stuff. He has a really great talent with it, and now working for Adam. So anyway, that's my story. So I will no longer be working there. I appreciate the opportunity. But I'm going to be working for Nidus with Adam, and I'm going to be doing this. And I think we really got to push into this even full force more. I do notice things like, and I know this is like sacrificing the show a bit, but YouTube has gotten more stringent with, not copyright shit, with like cursing and I may censor the intro. I'm not going to tell people they can't curse on the podcast, but it's like the fact that that's one of the first things they hear. I know it screws up our visibility and monetization. And so I might change a few things. I'm not going to like censor the whole thing, but I want us to have a bigger reach. So I'll do what we have to do.
I don't have a problem with I grew up on that kind of censorship, which I don't see, beeping out cuss words and stuff. To me, that's kind of the norm. I don't really see that as being censorship. It's just, having some integrity and
I just want to clarify. I wouldn't beep out the whole podcast or tell people they can't curse. I just mean in the intro, because the intro, we have that switches on. But and if that's on at the top of every video, the AI picks up that there's cursing at the top of the video. And then it's a whole process going through the videos being monetized again. And then like we have certain videos that do really well. And I think we could have them do more well, if that's a word, if that's the way of putting it.
More well, I said so. It is for us. So Battle Line Podcast is more well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I might, but I'm nothing drastic. And I do think the last thing, so I'm probably going way too long, is that the show, I do think will continue to go up on Tuesday, just because my priority now is working with Adam at Nidus, working on the stories at Rockable. And then that way, Saturday, I could focus on this and not have to tell those guys, hey, I have to leave. Because I was starting to work with Adam when I did the Yomni Park interview. And it was like, I would drive to Long Beach to see Adam. And then I'm like, hey, I got to go. I got to do an interview. Got to come here, like quickly do the interview, run back over there. It makes more sense for me to do on Saturdays. So that's it. I will shut up now.
You don't shut. We still got an hour, man. You got to keep talking. The stuff that we're doing, just continue on to just keep doing what we're doing. If we have to change up a little, there's nothing wrong with changing up a little bit here or there. And I hate that people, it's censorship. It's censorship. You got to censor. Fuck you. It's not either. We're just, what is going to get us out to succeed on our objective of making a bigger audience? And if that is bleeping out a few words, Okay, well, that's what we do. We're adjusting fire. It's the same thing, guys. We all do in the military. We do a mission. We see what's successful. We see what's not successful. What's not successful, we don't fucking do anymore, and we'll beep that out right there. So what?
No, we won't. We won't. Just the top of the show. Just the top of the show.
But that's the thing, though, is that even when you do, and growing up as a kid, even when you heard those beeps, I knew what they were saying, and actually it made the show kind of cool. It didn't ever. Oh man, I wish they wouldn't have beeped out that F-bomb. It's like, I know what he just said. I'm 12 years old. I know what he just said. And it actually, all right, that's cool. You probably shouldn't be saying that. But you know what? They beeped it out. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to say it. It has the opposite effect. But if it is a means to an end, which means that we get more listens, fuck, beep it out.
But once again, I'm not going to beep out it would be way too much to go.
Oh yeah.
Just the intro, just the intro.
We would be, you'd be beeping.
I even think the gunshots at the intro screw us up. Like, I hate to say it. It's just that YouTube is not 2A friendly. You guys know that. I don't think we get screwed up on Apple, though. I think Apple is actually like really accurate in terms of if you subscribe, they show you stuff. Like, because when I subscribe to podcasts on Apple, it just shows me my feed. It shows me what I'm subscribed to. It's not like they hide podcasts from me. And I wish everything was like that, but it's just not.
And you know, it still sucks, and I've seen it just even in my own social media. And I do social media because I have to. I don't do the Twitter. I don't do things I
love Twitter. Twitter's the only one I like.
Yes, and the other two, the Instagram's kind of a joke anymore, and Facebook actually does good with business, but lately, and a few people have seen, and actually even Jeremy and my wife looked at me, it's like, man, your reaches went way down the last, like from 1 week to another. And I hate to say it, but I know I do. Because it's not a complaint. It's not anything. I'm just a ranger and I'm bitching a little bit, but I do get shadow banned, even though I don't do anything that I should get shadow banned for. But I think I am put in a category of 2A, anti-Hillary, anti-Obama, scream right wing. I don't think Trump
it's that, because the AI picks up on stuff. Because Battleline is completely shadow banned on Facebook, and
just because it says Battleline, is that why?
No, we're shadow banned honestly because of Fort Scott Munitions. They insist that we are selling guns, and no matter how many times I've sent her clarification, we do not sell guns. We get blocked all the time for selling guns. Posts get taken down, say it is illegal to sell guns on Facebook, and we don't sell guns. So I don't know.
We don't, and that's another. If you're going to be running those AI things, you progress, and you are progressives on that side of the house. You are. That's not a stereotypical statement. That's just the truth. We all know that. Educate yourself on what you're actually looking at, so you don't just use a blanket statement.
They don't care, though. I mean, like, Mark Zuckerberg, he's anti-gun. He's not gonna. I don't think he cares. I think it's just the reach is, if you're a 2A podcast, if you're a 2A YouTube channel, they're screwing up your reach. Then everybody could say, oh, you can go to Rumble, but no one's really on there. That's just the truth, man. And I don't want to do a show that's just for people on like the further right. I want everybody listening. No, I enjoy talk. Dude, actually, I was going to say this, man. Having Nastasha back on, right? Great show. And then I tagged Nastasha on our Instagram post, and so invited as a collaborator. So I see all of her likes that like our stuff. And the truth is, the fans of Jigsaw Youth, hey, I appreciate them liking our stuff. But who are their fan base is just fun. Like, a lot of pronoun people, a lot of they, them, a lot of he, her, him. Hey, and, but I and I don't even want to say that it's a disrespectful thing. Like, if you're a trans person, listens to the show, likes what we do, nothing but respect. Hope you continue to listen. It's just funny because it's the complete opposite of like what our fan base is.
Well, it's the fan base is whatever fan base there is out there. And what I would say, leave me alone. Don't keep pushing shit in my face, and I'll leave you alone. And that's how I was when I worked. I think that's working as a security officer even with terrorists. Like, hey, we got to do a mission, but most days, like, hey, leave me the fuck alone. Let me do my thing. Quit throwing your shit in my face, and I will leave you alone. And that is the biggest problem. Now that we're going on the he and pronoun stuff, is just continually throwing shit in my face every day. Like, dude, no wonder you're pushing more people away from me. And that's why. Even with Benghazi, I could say that with Benghazi, throwing that shit in people's faces. Eventually, a lot of them that may have come to, I don't say our side, because now we're picking sides. I don't want to say sides, but coming to like the supporting of, hey, we need to find culpability for what happened to us. when it's continually in your face, you're the same as me. When somebody keeps throwing shit in your face, eventually you want to say, all right, dude, I got it. Enough. And if they keep doing it, it's like, you know what? Fuck you. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
also just the news cycle though. The news cycle beats everything down
oh, shit,
until everyone is tired of it. But it's also that's what people click on. And working in a newsroom, right? Like there's so much stuff that could be covered, but it's not because you can't politicize it, and that's just a fact. I mean, that's why it's like I love that every now and again we'll cover what's going on in Turkey and what's going on in Armenia. And it's not, you'll find an article on CNN.com or somewhere, but it's not plastered all over TV because it's not a right left issue. That's just how most things are. It has to infuriate one side or the other. So you're essentially not getting news, I think, when you turn on the TV. So other people, I think Luke Ryan may have said it, or even Marty Scoveland, but like I've always said, you should be reading the majority of your news. You shouldn't be watching TV.
Honestly, you should just be living and seeing what's in front of your fucking face. There's your news right there.
No, but I just mean if you want, but if you want to know what's going on in Turkey and Syria, like read or Armenia, I should say, like read an in-depth article about it from AP or some source that's more objective, because you're not really gonna get much out of it.
I don't even know if we got objective media anymore for the most part. Maybe an objective journalist.
I do think
here or there.
AP has always been very solid.
I don't know. I completely stay out of that whole shit unless you throw me something, or my wife reads like when the emails. I think she's on MSN or that's the homepage. Whatever homepage pops up on her computer, you know how it just is filled with news articles. It's just everywhere, no matter what. She'll throw something at me that's just like ridiculous. Like
that's also just catered to what you click on. So that's why it's like good to go to like AP or something like that, and go to world news and get an idea of like what's going on in the world, because you're probably not going to get it on any major news channel.
I think it's just good just to not look at it at all. Just don't watch it at all. But international news, if you can find something good on BBC, even though BBC, I used to watch that overseas. When I was overseas, I didn't watch Fox or I didn't care. I didn't even know there was a right or left news organizations when I was working. I didn't. I had no clue. I thought they were all the same. I had Fox, CNN, MSNBC, NBC News, 60 Minutes. I didn't know there was, but most of the stuff I would watch, if it was the news that come on, we'd have BBC on most of the time. Or if we were local, and this, we just, because they normally would give us local stuff real quick, was Al Jazeera and Al Arabiya TV. And honestly, if you have slang out there, hey guys, if you want to see those two out there, you want to see what Al Arabiya TV is, or Al Arabiya, however you want to say it. If you have Slang TV, you can watch it. And yeah, it still is slanted to whatever country the reporter's coming from, but you're still getting stuff on, real time on the ground there. And I do really think it's better. If you're gonna watch it, it's better than watching our mainstream media.
Yeah, but I'd still say it's better to read always. Like we've had so many great journalists on the show that do like really great investigative work. And once again, even if you're watching those news stations, you're gonna get a 2-minute hit on a very complicated issue.
I just don't read it at all. You know what? You want to see what's going on in Syria and Turkey? Join the fucking army. And then you go join the military. I don't know if I agree with you,
because I think it's important to have an idea of what's going on in the world, because it's always going to impact America in some way down the line. And then that way, when it does, I don't think people should be so reactionary. And I use the word reactionary not to mean far right wing. I mean quick to react on everything. I think it's important to actually like get a nuanced perspective on things before you form an opinion. And most people are just like, they're going by headlines. They're going by a 2-minute hit on TV. And that's my personal problem with the media. And I do think, people should read more in-depth articles on world news. That's my feeling.
I just don't think you should be forming an opinion on shit if you've just worked as a bartender for your whole fucking life. Yeah, I am hitting somebody out there. I'm calling someone out. And that is now in high levels of fucking a government that has no business being a government, because she shouldn't be forming a damn opinion because she has no life experiences. That's where I get into. It's like, hey, dude, get some life experiences on you. Just reading shit on, and reading or watching the media and watching the news does not give you wisdom. Garbage in, garbage out. Go live. And then you can develop opinions on things. And there's things that you'll tell me, like rock stuff. I'll tell you, man, I really got no opinion on it because I'm not in that. I don't know it. I don't have a clue. I can give you what I think, but it doesn't mean shit because I've never been in that genre. I want to hear what you have to say, and I'm going to lean on your opinion. I think that's what I learned
Yeah,
from
but
Ranger.
I've never been in that genre either. I'm someone who just reads a lot.
Yeah, but you've at least accumulated some knowledge from people directly because you're friends with them. You talk
Yeah.
to them, and you do. You do. That's one thing on the rock side of the house that you do, bro. You sit down and you want to hear what they have to say. So you're hearing from everybody, not just the John Dolomines, who's is, I would say probably more on the
Super right wing.
fence. Yeah, but you also got and she's not in the media, she's not in rock, but she's still in the business. Debbie Rochon, who's
well, she's in movies. Yeah,
she's in movie, but it's that you're in that same genre of, because and Ryan applying her in the rock side because of the D. Schneider tie-in and Fangor and all.
Yeah,
that.
but they got kind of grouped together. But yeah, well, I loved working with both of them.
And you listen to both of them. And that's why when Debbie was on, yeah, I know it, but I respected what she had to say because she lived that stuff I'd never lived. So hell, I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to hear what Tucker Carlson or Anderson Cooper has to say. I want to hear what you have to say because you've been through it. You lived through whatever experience we want to talk about. And then I guess that's where I form. Or if I don't know, I'm just going to go do it and then figure it out on my own. If I don't know, well, then I'm going to lean on people that do know. And I'm with you. I get you what you say on the reading. I agree. And we've talked about that before. If you're going to watch the news, if you're going to get in the news.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to get more out of a 2-minute hit on Fox or like a Holly McKay great article?
I'm going to get out from actually the best I can get out is doing it, is actually experiencing it and then drawing an opinion from it. But if you can't, your next best option, I will agree with you. I would say is reading it and not watching. I don't watch the news anymore, guys. If that tells you anything, I don't watch it. I'm not on it. I don't want to be on it. Ian, same thing. I think you feel the same as me. I mean, shit, you quit a high paying job because it was nothing against the Deneen Borelli. She's really nice.
Deneen's great.
She's awesome, but just the whole corporate media structure now, it's sickening, and you walked away from it. So if that tells you something about watching media, and guys, it's not because Ian's probably most center of the road person I've ever met.
No, I'm not center of the road. That's not
well,
true.
you probably, I mean, you lean more right. Yeah,
absolutely. I've always said that.
But you're very objective. That's right. When I say center of the road, I mean, you're very, very objective. You'll call somebody.
Yeah, I think I just try to hear out different people, because if you don't, you're never going to learn anything. I mean, for example, I was probably like to the right on healthcare, for example, and we'll move on to different things, but like I was probably to the right on healthcare, like I am on most things. And then until I sat down with Rick Unger and actually like debated with him and had a conversation about these issues, I was like, yeah, I've actually changed my view, because I sat down and was able to listen to someone who knows their stuff, who's like extremely intelligent, probably the only guy who actually read Obamacare, like the entire bill, which I don't think anybody in Congress did. Rick actually did. Like, Rick was able to tell you every single thing about that bill. And I think people are too focused on like, I have to win this debate and I have to be right, when sometimes you're sitting down with someone who's just far smarter than you and knows a lot more than you. And I'm able to, when I talk to Rick Unger, I'm like, all right, this guy knows a lot more than me. Maybe I could learn something from him. And my views changed, but people are too stubborn in their views these days.
And actually in the defense of living life, in my argument, I could tell Rick Unger, hey, go fuck yourself on Obamacare. Our fucking premiums went skyrocketed. Rick Unger is richer than shit too. He lives in a bubble. I like Rick. I like him better than Steele. When they were Steele and Unger,
I love Rick Unger.
Rick is the one that actually did take time when we were on his show, and I have respect for that. But on the Obamacare issue, being just a normal, and I'm upper middle class. I'm not poor, man.
I don't think Rick ever made, to be fair, man, you'd have to sit down with him, because I don't think Rick ever made an argument for Obamacare. Rick is like a universal health care guy, and I understand why.
If doesn't affect, but Obamacare, if didn't, and
Obamacare was not universal health care.
It was not. Well, but he argued for it, and I know that because I'm like, dude, no, and I didn't know it at the time. Because it hadn't been passed yet. It was still going, but when it passed through, holy shit, dude, our premiums went up. Now, I'm blessed. The Army took care of me, but I'm not rated at 100%, so I don't get coverage for my family. So I still have to pay for my family's coverage, and it is expensive. Dude, we're paying thousands of dollars a month for healthcare plus the premiums. So I would argue with Rick, and I meant in an all endearing word, daring when I said "fuck you, Rick." I didn't mean it like I like you did. You're good, but that's just me talking. As usual, I would say, dude, Obamacare is not.
But once again, he
healthcare.
was not. To be fair, like, and I'm just making a point. He was.
No,
I don't
make
know
a point.
Rick's stance on Obamacare. Rick is a universal healthcare guy. And I think there are merits to that argument is the point. But anyway, I kind of want to move on to other stuff because this is getting way too political.
But that's no,
I just
we don't talk about that shit.
I'm not an Obamacare guy, right? But I think universal healthcare, I think could be good. I think there could be problems with it. That's where I'll leave it. But anyway, I think speaking of healthcare, though, people are probably wondering about your injury because like we talked about it pretty quickly, but I don't think people have heard it in depth because has it been a year now? Just
8 months.
It feels like a year.
Yeah, it does, huh? It's been eight months. And guys, y'all can overcome injuries. Injury was a setback, and it is when you have a major injury, and a lot of you out there are. I know you hit me up on I don't answer a lot of my DMs, but even on the E3 Farms website, that's the one thing I do answer. I do actually interact on the E3 Farms website. People going through severe injuries, and it can be very decimating to your life because it does upend it. I mean, me being bedridden for basically 2 months after surgery, plus the month before I even got surgery because my leg wasn't attached to anything, my left leg, it can mess with your head, and you just have to overcome it. You have to never quit, never give up, continue to set yourself a goal. What I did is I set up a goal. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to get better. All right. Am I going to get stronger? Am I going to get weaker? Am I going to be able to run again? Because there are, if you don't do therapy on a quadricep tear and a quadricep tendon tear where it rolls up in your leg, if you don't do the right therapy and push yourself, you're not gonna be able to run again. I'll walk, but I won't run. And I set it to myself as a goal when I was in the bed. It's like, okay, I'm just going to get stronger than what I was before. And I'll be honest, I think I am. It's 8 months. I'm running again. Granted, it's not a long run. I'll run a couple miles, and it's a walk run because I'm still rehabilitating it. The muscle atrophied, the inner quadricep muscle atrophied extremely, but I'm rebuilding it back up. To me, it was just an opportunity to get stronger again. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to run like a Spartan race, or I'm going to run some adventure race when this thing's fully healed, and I'm going to win it. And that's my mindset. So
you're really thinking of doing that?
Oh, I did. If this thing, with everything that's so negative out there on social media, and that's why that we didn't hit with Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, you are more responsible for more of these deaths out there than any gun ever will be. But let's leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. I'm going to leave that final word. But that thing on social media, if anything I can do to help somebody, and it helps me too. It's cathartic with me too. I'm not going to say it's not. Is to show that you can overcome injuries. Yeah, I'd like to, and I'd like to win it. And like, hey, look, guys, major injury, severe injury. I had to rehabilitate it forever. The rehabilitation was painful. The rehabilitation is still painful because I got to run stairs, and it's scary running stairs where you don't know if that the psychological effect that you don't know if the knee's going to give away or something, because you do. It feels like it's like that. It's just wobbly. It's not really there. And now it's extremely getting really strong. But it's painful. It hurts doing jumps and doing the TRX bands, and it hurts. But you got to get it done. And running it and showing, hey guys, any one of us, even at the age of 52, which if I ever get a run one, when I get healed up, when I get into something I want to, I'll be 53. You can overcome that injury and actually get stronger than before you were injured. But that's the mindset you need to have, man. The mindset everybody needs to have on everything in life. And it's just that you can overcome any sort of adversity in your life. And me, I've been through a lot of adversity just in the military and just normal stupid decisions in life like we all make. And this is just something else, which comes down to, it really was a stupid decision by Australian rappelling one extra time when I probably didn't need to do it, but my ego got caught up with me. And just showing that, hey, you can overcome it and get stronger from it. Don't let it be something that knocks you down, especially as we get older. Because we get older, we do. We're 50s, and I know a lot of my 50-year-olds that, buddies, guys, you guys don't look like you're 50. You look like you're 70.
It's true.
And cut out, stop the drinking, stop the late nights, stop.
What about Tonto vodka though?
You can have a drink every once in a while. Good call. Touche, my friend. Well done. But set your goal for yourself, especially as we get injured. And my military veteran special operations friends, we're going to continue to get injured because of the lifestyle we live, but we can either let it knock us down and us get out of shape and feel sorry for ourselves, or we can use it as a catapult into getting stronger. And honestly, I think, man, I'm back to right. We got a Peloton. I do love that Peloton bike. I ain't gonna lie. I think it's awesome. I'm not a
I've
fan
never
of,
used it.
Dude, it's good. I'm not a fan of all the instructors on there, but the guided rides, like the rides you ride and around the world, and they have got, those are really cool. And
I know there's pretty hot chick instructors. That
well,
I know.
there are. But it does push you. And I'm on, dude. Like yesterday, I ran 2.5 miles on my treadmill, and I did an 11-mile bike ride, and I'm rehabilitating this leg, and I lifted. And then I was outside playing with my boy all day, because it was nice out. So life doesn't end at 50. Life doesn't end when you're injured. You can set a goal and say, okay, I'm going to overcome this and I'm going to get stronger. But I do think the life I've lived, from my grandfather being an immigrant, being a Mexican immigrant, seeing him work his ass off, seeing my grandmother, who was a picker, work her ass off, seeing my mom, who was extremely poor, work her ass off, my dad who was poor, and my grandfather, picker grandfather, which says something because that's extremely poor, and being raised by them and them being successful, and then me being in the army, and then me being a ranger, and then going to the CIA, and then overcoming adversity overseas during the global war on terror. To me, this was just a drop in the bucket, and it should be that way for everybody that goes through adversity. Man, this is nothing. It ain't nothing. Let's see. Set a goal. What's my final goal? Let's work towards that goal. And that's what it's going to be. It may not be a Spartan race because, but it'll be something here in Kansas, even if it's just like a 5K trail race or something. I want to get out and do it. And and it is for me first, because I set that goal for myself, but also social media is so negative that that's why I try to put positive stuff out there, because that's what social media should be for. It's just sad that it's not, but I can still do it. You can still do it. We can still put stuff out there that's positive, and just, hopefully people that need to see it. And I think it does. I think we do have that effect on a lot of people, which I think we could reach more people if we weren't shadow banned, but that's the nature of the game. So all we can do is just keep working, and all I can do with this knee is keep getting it stronger, and eventually get out there and run a race and get at the ending and take a picture and say, hey, see guys, I was bedridden with a leg that was just hanging there, didn't work, extreme pain. My knee looked like a popsicle stick a year ago. And here I am crossing this finish line of this trail, not just a road race, but like a trail race, like we're uneven terrain. Here I am, and you can do it too. Oh, and by the way, I'm old as fucking dirt. I'm 53 years old.
You're not old as dirt.
but yeah, so I'm doing, dude, I'm great. I'm motivated. My metabolism is kicking back up. So I'm starting to, that Nacho Libre gut I had, fucking Jack Black gut I had, is starting to go away. It's great, man. I mean, setbacks are just a chance for us to fucking try again and get stronger. I love it, man. I'm having, my life's great, and it's springtime. So it's blue sky. I'm looking out my window. The trees are starting to bloom. I got the white out here in Kansas. I don't know if you have that in Long Island, but out here in Kansas, you got the trees that have the white flowers that pop up before the leaves come up, and it's beautiful.
Probably somewhere. I'm looking around, not near me, but yeah.
But you guys on the island there, it's pretty. We were talking about that. Yeah. You were at Long Branch. Sure. It's beautiful.
Long Beach.
Long Beach, Long Branch, New Jersey. I'm sorry, Long Beach. Yep. Beautiful out there, man.
Yeah, that's where Adam is. Long Beach is awesome. So you've never done a competitive race though, right?
Army, I did. I used to run 10 milers, and dude, I could run them fast. I never won one, but I could run it in under an hour. I could run 10 miles in under an hour. And
that's it.
But awesome. But that's Ranger Battalion, and I wasn't even the fastest guy at Ranger Battalion. You got to run. You got to be able to.
But wait, that was like a contest outside of training.
We would actually have it for the Ranger Battalion. It was all Ranger training. So we'd have contests before you go on block leave for fun. We have Ranger games. And so
I have heard of that.
Heard of that. We'd have the Ranger game, and it would be all sorts of contests before, and we'd all compete against each other. So it wasn't like a sanctioned race like a Boston Marathon or something, but it was from Ranger Battalion. And there's 1,500 guys at a battalion. Granted, there's probably only about half of that are actually combat ready guys, but I don't even know if there's even 1,500 anymore, probably 1,200. But anyway, it's still a big group pool to pull from, and the competition's heavy, and it's Ranger Battalion. So you're going against other companies. So you want your company to win, and then you want your platoon to win. It's extremely competitive, man. So, but it's fun, and it's tough, but it's at the end of the block. It's right before you go on block leave. So yeah, everybody's having fun. And then at night, you go and drink, and then you get up in the morning and you do it again. And it's awesome. No, I used to compete a lot. I never won one. I always was finished in the top 5% of whatever race I was in, but there were always guys that were always a little, that's what I loved about Ranger Battalion. There was always somebody that was a little bit faster. So you always had to work a little bit harder. And there's a guy named Dimwitty. I don't know if he was in a different company, young guy. He was the guy I really had to compete against because he was good. And then my own platoon, Sergeant Peterson, who I think he might have went to Delta. I don't know. Peterson was the man. And he didn't look like he was in shape at all. He had a gut on him. The motherfucker could run like 11-minute he could run 5.5-minute miles. And that's what I love about Ranger Battalion. You think they're all shredded up, big, huge. They're guys that you're like, holy crap, how can you be a Ranger? And then he puts a ruck on and he runs for 30 miles. It's like that strength, that farm boy strength that where the hell they get it from? We had guys like could smoke and still run. I like, how the hell are they doing this? But that's why I love Ranger Battalion, just a collective bunch of guys.
He wouldn't be in the farm category. He was even to say, and maybe we'll talk about the live stream, but like Jack Murphy, I've seen pictures of him at Ranger Battalion. He was never like a jacked, shredded guy. That's just I don't know about his running. I've never seen him run, but I mean, I assume if you were a Ranger and a Green Beret, you have some attributes.
I'm sure he at the very least could max out a PT test. I guarantee you. But Jack is a perfect example. That's usually what guys look like. I look basically like this at Ranger Battalion. I wasn't any bigger, any smaller. I was about
but you're still a muscular guy.
And that's some good genetics I've had. But I'm 170. I was Ranger Battalion. I was 5'9", 170. When I played football, I was 195. But that was a lot of it. That was a lot more.
I didn't know that was for like a long period of time, because that actually, and we'll get to our sponsors here, but that's one thing I was going to say. I think social media change people's perception of what an Army Ranger looks like, because I'm not going to say who may be on something or who may not be, like, I don't know, but there's a lot of guys who, if you look at their pictures when they were in Ranger Bat, they looked like regular guys, and now they look superhuman because they may be on certain supplements.
They may be on some, but you guys are on shit. That's why I tell people stay off that crap.
Yeah, dude. and that's a great switch here. Transition to a supplement you can take that's great for you, that is not in that category of something that's going to be detrimental to your knee
too. This stuff has been outstanding, rebuilding my knee, helping me with my knee. But go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
And of course that's none other than Bubs Naturals, bubsnaturals.com. They have MCT oil powder, apple cider vinegar gummies, Bubs Brew. But when you talk about recuperating the knee, it's really that collagen protein, which is great for recovery and building muscle strength and building that connective tissue, because collagen is the building blocks of the body. It's that protein that you need.
Oh, man, it's excellent. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Bubs for helping me with this recuperation, this rehabilitation. It has helped immensely. And it's also helping the rest of my joints that, just from old injuries I've had and chronic injuries. So guys, the Bubs Natural stuff works. Yes, you have to take it though. You have to consistently take it like anything put in your body. The MCT oil as a pre-workout, holy crap. And it doesn't give you that stomach upset that if you drink Red Bull or Monsters or something, it goes right in your coffee, and it tastes really good too. And of course the gummies that help clean you out when you're help your body feel. The more you're cleaned out inside, the more energy you have. It's something to do with your small intestines and your colon. I don't know what it is. All I know is that if it's cleaned out, and the apple cider vinegar gummies do help that you feel better. All their products are amazing. And then, of course, they're just, Sean over there is the integrity of Glenn Doherty. And that says a lot. It just 110% integrity. Great company, great products, man. I swear by them.
Yeah, and as you said, with like those apple cider vinegar gummies, you're absorbing more of the nutrients you're
Yeah,
putting in your body,
because
which
you're
is
cleaning
very
up.
important. So yeah, bubsnaturals.com, promo code BattleLine, you're gonna get 20% off. You could find them elsewhere, but you're gonna get the best deal through us when
Yeah.
you go to bubsnaturals.com and use the promo code BattleLine. Every week or so, I see a post somewhere of someone who's just getting started with Bubs Naturals and tagging us and saying we found out about it through the
Yeah.
podcast, and we really appreciate it, and you're going to really love it if you get on there. So check them out. Also, our longest running sponsor, our main sponsor on here, Fort Scott Munitions, is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition that is designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammo being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that it received the same results with each pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states, but you can get a great deal through us when you go to the dealer locator and you what were you saying? Sorry.
All right, I just got something that Ryan had sent me that he wanted me to mention during the read. So
Yeah, go
continue
for
on.
it. Yeah.
They've just started to make a what we call a Raptor, and it's 5,200, I think 80 feet per second on a round, which is, guys, that is powerful. That is fast, and it's for hunting. 308 cartridges for you gun guys up there. You speak the lingo, you know what I'm saying. Tremendous. So it's a new thing they've just developed, and Fort Scott Ammunition is developing new ammo all the time. So if there's something you want to see, all you got to do is email Tim Ross over there and they'll start working on it. I wish I could put this up on the screen, buddy, but they got a board where they're actually sitting in a room developing new ammo with a whiteboard.
Send it to me and we'll have Rob put it on as we're talking.
Perfect. But guys, check out Fort Scott Munitions, and they've got the new Raptor ammo out there for you hunters, especially you big game hunters out there. You're going to love this stuff, man. So check it out. And they always got new ammo coming up all the time. And if you want to see a specific caliber that they don't make, email them and they will work on it. And it will be the best caliber out there on the market.
Yeah, and I have to say, man, I have never met anyone more passionate in my life about firearms and ammo than Ryan Kraft. I mean, he really knows what he's talking about. He's so passionate about this industry and just all around great guy. So as I was saying, you could check out the dealer locator when you go to fsm.com, but you'll get a great deal through us when you go to fsm.com and use the promo code BattleLine for 15% off. One word, BattleLine at fsm.com. Only available to our listeners, and they are a proud sponsor of Chris Peranto, BattleLine Tactical, and the BattleLine podcast. We love working with those guys. Getting into some news here, there were 2 recent Navy SEAL deaths. I sent you one, but I realized there were actually 2. Yeah, because the way that actually I saw this was really not originally through the news. A lot of guys we had on the podcast are friends with these 2 guys. I think Jack Carr, who I think we're going to get on again later this month, posted something, and Chris Beck. So yeah, the first guy died of a natural causes, suffering a heart attack, running a shooting course, and that was Dan Cerrillo, or Cerrillo possibly, call sign Taco, former Navy SEAL. Died from a heart attack.
Man, I didn't know that. I knew a Taco. I don't know if it was Dan Cerrillo though, but yeah, wow. He was running a course and holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's survived by his daughter Taylor, son Kellen, and wife Lalani. Tributes have been pouring in from his friends, colleagues, and admirers. So Dan was a former Navy SEAL who served from 1993 to 2005. He graduated as a member of Bud's Class 194. He served with SEAL Team 1 as an operator and instructor. He finished 3 deployments during his time with the Navy SEALs, including directing missions related to operating, enduring, and Iraqi freedom. And then he joined Naval Special Warfare Center Special Operations Instructor Staff in 98. And then I saw this, not to bring up the negative of it, but if you Google him, he's done a lot of podcasts. And I just want to make sure I have this right, because I know there was some controversy with him. I'm going to see if I could pull this up. Yeah, this is from 2005. So CIA operative testifies he saw SEAL beating Iraqi prisoner, and that was Dan. So
yeah, I know Taco.
that's what he goes by.
I mean,
So yeah, it says earlier today, and this is once again from 2005. Once again, not to bring up the negative, but this is just part of his bio. This is the positive and the negative. Former petty officer Dan Cerrillo testified under immunity that he was the SEAL beating the prisoner and pushing his face into the sand. But Cerrillo, who served under Ledford and Foxtrot platoon, said he was acting on the orders of those people we're not supposed to talk about. One of the euphemisms witnesses and attorneys used to avoid mentioning the CIA. Other phrases include the agency, another government agency, and security personnel. When the prisoner wouldn't answer, I would make him talk, Cerrillo told jurors in the case against Ledford. So that's from the Los Angeles Times. But beyond that, like I said, I know that a lot of SEALs that have been on the show and are friends of ours have had very positive things to say about that.
And what was it, 05? Is that what you said? It was
Yeah.
05. Yeah. I don't like people weighing in on that kind of shit unless they've actually been there and been with a Taliban prisoner, like in the same room with them, or been with an Al Qaeda prisoner of war with the same room with them. You have no fucking idea. You don't. You have no clue. You're looking through a shark's eyes. I remember in Kandahar doing that, where my buddy, God rest his soul, nobody knew about Joseph Bixler. Joseph Bixler X was one of the best GRS operators I've ever worked with, and he passed away when he was riding his motorcycle back in Colorado and he got hit by a car. But they're not compliant. They're going to be, and it's hard to not get ramped up to make them talk. It isn't. Now, I actually wrote about it in the Ranger Way. If you want to read about my incident with the Taliban guy, I took another route. Joe X was going to beat the living shit out of him. And, granted, we kind of played a good cop, bad cop thing with him. And I got him to open up without having to beat him down. But Joseph had every right at that point in time. This guy's a killer. He's dangerous as fuck. He wants to kill us. And it's hard to not let that adrenaline get the best of you. It is. It's difficult to not do that. And to say that he was in the wrong, guys, it's war. I know in this touchy-feely world we're in right now, where everybody doesn't even know if they're a fox or a human being because they can identify as whatever the hell they want. But at that time, and I think at any time in war, we're human. It's tough when there's somebody in that threat there and adrenaline's going to hold back. They want to just, and this guy probably just car bombed a bus full of kids, and you're like, or was part of it. So I know it's negative, but to get in that situation and not let your emotions take advantage of you is hard to do. And you have to very, very disciplined to not do it, to not do and go to the extremes to get people to talk. And especially at that time when, waterboarding was kind of still going on, and it was tough we were if they got us, they were going to string us up and kill us or burn us on TV. If we got them, we might beat them up. I mean, you see the differences of the perspectives there, and on that dichotomy scale of the extremes. So to us, it was like, dude, so I punched him in the face a few times. If he caught me and took me, guess where I'm going? I'm going to get beheaded on TV, and I'm the one that's getting reprimanded for this shit. So I don't want to say Dan's thing. Yeah, if I would have been with Dan there, I probably would have, because that was just my nature. I'll shoot you in the face, but if I don't need to, I'm not going to, and I'm going to try to be nice to you until it's time to not be nice, instead of jumping all the way to that extreme, which some guys did. Which I get it. I'm not gonna crush you for it. But I don't want to say that it was a bad, a negative on his, because it was
I'll be the first to say I don't know enough about it to give an opinion one way or the other. I haven't really read about it. All I'm reading is a blurb.
Sure.
But if people do want to know more, I'm pretty sure he was on Mike Ritland's podcast. He was on a lot of podcasts. I think they get into it. So maybe if you want to hear from his perspective, the whole situation, you could probably just Google his name, or look it up on Apple Podcasts, and then listen to a full podcast and form your own opinion. So,
and Mike said, granted, I don't know what issues you and Mike have, but Mike,
I don't have an issue with Mike. Mike doesn't like
Mike
me.
has an issue with you, and then maybe Mike will get over it one of these days. Get the fuck over it, Mike. But Mike's a good guy. I've met him a couple times. times. I don't know him very well, but when I have met him, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to tell people not to listen to a podcast, especially with a guy who's deceased. And if you want to like remember him, check it out.
It's always good. Like we just talked about this earlier, we kind of round full circle. It's always good to hear from the horse's mouth. Let's hear what happened. But regardless, I understand, and I think he still served honorably. And he didn't pull an Eddie Gallagher. Sorry, guys, but that was bad. That's just awful. He didn't do that. He did what we thought we needed to do to get people to talk. I've been in that situation before. I understand the emotions that go through it, and I understand what extremes it can get to if some terrorist that is out there killing Americans and just killing innocents is not going to say anything, and what you have to do to sometimes get them to talk, especially at that time, and get information. And that's what he was trained to do. So, God rest his soul. And I know I met Taco once. I know I met him a ton. We didn't work together. I know I met him once or twice there in one of the AOs. And so, man, yeah, and that's terrible that he just he run in like a tactical course and in like a tactical games or something. Like. Wow, man. And well, it can happen to the best of us. If I'm going to die, either in my sleep, either having sex with my wife or running a tactical course, and I have a heart attack. That's the way I want to go, man. So yeah, but bless his family too, and for his family, belatedly, thank you for his service. I'm sure he was a tremendous operator. I know he was. Yeah.
And this is another tragedy. This is actually more recent. Where did I print this out from again? I think it was Task and Purpose, because they wrote something great. The author is Max Hauptmann, so at least I have that on me. I like to always give proper credit. I'll read this because it's really not that long, and it's a whole. It gives you a good perspective on who Mike Day was. So Mike Day, Navy SEAL. This is crazy, man. Navy SEAL who survived being shot 27 times in Iraq dies. So, that was his story. Douglas Mike Day, a highly decorated U.S. Navy SEAL who survived being shot 27 times while deployed to Iraq, passed away earlier this week on March 27th. Day served 21 years in the Navy and later worked as an author and an advocate for wounded military veterans. On April 6th, 2007, Day was nearing the end of a deployment to the Anbar province of Iraq and leading his SEAL platoon on a raid against an al-Qaeda cell in the city of Fallujah. With 2 Iraqi scouts behind him, Day breached the door of a room and was immediately struck with multiple bullets, knocking his rifle out of his hands. I took a left-hand turn and they just started shooting at me, Day said on the Team Never Quit podcast in 2020. Falling to the ground, Day transitioned to his pistol and shot one of the 4 terrorists in the room. As a second man pulled the pin on a grenade and began running towards the hallway, Day killed him as well. The grenade fell to the ground and detonated, wounding Day with the shrapnel. He briefly lost consciousness, but when he awoke, he continued engaging the other men in the room, shooting them with his pistol, even as he was struck yet again multiple times from less than 10 feet away with AK-47 fire. And this is Task and Purpose, by the way. After I realized that I actually was getting shot, my second thought was, God, get me home to my girls, and then extreme anger, Day told Fox News in 2015. Then I just went to work. It was muscle memory. I just did what I was trained to do. Though improbable, Day was still alive, directing several Iraqi scouts to guard a group of women and children who had been found in the building, and using the radio of fellow SEAL Joseph Clark Schwedler, who was killed during the raid, to make contact with the rest of his team. It was only then that Day realized the extent of his injuries. 16 bullets had torn through his abdomen, arms, legs, groin, and buttocks. Another 11 had been stopped by his body armor. I didn't even know how bad I was hurting until they came in and I saw the looks on their faces, Day told Coffee or Die magazine in 2020. We all know that look. Day was soon evacuated from the battlefield, first to Baghdad, then to Landstuhl, Germany. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Landstuhl, yeah, you are. Yep.
And eventually to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, walking to the medvac helicopter without assistance. I wasn't being macho, but I was afraid if they picked me up, it would just hurt more, Day recounted to Coffee or Die magazine. Day later retired from the Navy in 2010, having been awarded the Navy Cross, 2 Bronze Stars, and the Purple Heart. He later went on to work 7 years as a wounded warrior advocate for U.S. Special Operations Command. Day's autobiography, Perfectly Wounded, was published in 2020. When you go through something together or similar, it's a bond, even if you didn't do it together, Day told Coffee or Die magazine in 2020. The resiliency that's built into people after they go through trauma is incredible. And it is. And the only thing I could add to this, and it's one of those things that I hate to say, whenever I see an article like this and I don't see a cause of death, and it's a veteran, I hate to say it, it's like you assume the worst, and I don't know the cause of death.
Well, and that's
amazing story.
You know, I think some of our veteran publications think they're doing us a service when they don't say the cause of death, but then our heads start to spin and we start thinking things. I think they should.
Or it could be the family, though. It could be the family saying, "Don't pose the cause. Don't post the cause of death."
You know, I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's a lack of integrity by saying that in the article. Hey, family has asked us. I think it shows honestly integrity of that writer by putting that out there and respecting the family's wishes. So, but on the same way, because now our head is going, well, how'd he die? Instead of focusing on what he did.
Yeah.
Since we don't know what he died. And that's just you guys, that's not making you a bad person. It's just human nature. You're just, it's also, where's the ending of the story? It's like watching a movie without ending. What happened, man? I know how he died. What did he do?
And the reason why it's kind of obvious, veteran suicide is astronomical.
But that's the thing. But we're assuming that, and you know, I'm not saying that you're doing it a bad. I do this. I'm thinking the same thing.
No, and we're both saying it. We're assuming. And if we're incorrect, and if any family member wants to write us, battlelinepodcast@gmail.com, I would correct that at the top of the show because I'm not saying that. I don't know, and it's always unfortunate when you read these articles and there is no cause of death because. You always hate to think a guy who never gave up in the fight. Clearly, you don't want to think a guy like that gave up on themselves.
It's tough. And then another thing I've a lot of experience in is that the battle doesn't end there. The battle's for our physical bodies. That's what that was. The war. The battle for our soul will continue till the day we die, and we win or we lose. And if you give up on yourself, and not saying he did, I don't know. We have no idea. But if you're willing to give up on yourself, you're losing that battle for your soul. And that's the most important battle. And that's what I'm saying as you. It's like, well, dude, we didn't give up on the battles for our physical selves. We kept fighting. Shit, that must be the luckiest motherfucker alive right there. Shot 27. Holy shit, how did that? An AK-47 round? Hey guys, that's bigger than this. Do you see? Does it pan into me? Is it showing me? That's bigger than this, guys. That's a 3-0 blackout. AK-47 rounds about like that and thicker. That's a lot and
drifting in and out of consciousness the whole time.
I mean, that's pretty fucking amazing. But you fought through, and again, not saying he did. I'm using this as a blanket statement. I'm pulling all the veterans in that have served in the global war to everybody. We fought through to protect our physical selves to get home. Why don't we fight off the devil for the battle for our souls and continue to fight on every day? And we will for the rest of our lives. I tell every veteran out there, it's not going to go away. It still comes to me. I was sitting there like, I don't know, a song came on in the gym and it reminded me of an incident. I kind of teared up. My wife saw me. She walked to me. She goes, "What's wrong?" I didn't even know I was tearing up. I don't know.
I'm curious what song it was.
What I was, oh, no, you know what it was? It was the Top Gun, the one Lady Gaga's to Top Gun song.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of a testament that you thought it was a great song.
It's a great song. No, I have it on my,
that. Oh, wait, I got to ask real quick. Did you ever actually see the movie? Because I remember when it came out, you took forever to see it.
No, I know we're getting, but the kids today, they cannot act tough. So that part I had to get through, but the movie itself, incredible. And Tom Cruise is still the best. I mean, he's just, come on, it's Tom Cruise.
I agree.
No, but the story, no, it was fucking phenomenal movie. It was a great movie. I just have a hard, it's like, damn you 30 somethings. Can you learn how to be an actual 30 something? Learn how to be an actual tough guy fighter.
I think a lot of them were 20 something
or 20 something.
Don't put my age group.
I'm so you're right. You 20 something actors learn actually how to be a tough 20 something. Like when I was growing, it's like, God,
you didn't think the guy that played Goose's son? I thought he was great.
No, he did great. At the beginning, it just the bar scene was nothing near. You come on, this sure as hell. There was no Val Kilmer in the bar scene. You know, there was no Iceman. And there was no fucking shit. Even the guy that married Susan Sarandon, he was even a tough guy. He was in the first Top Gun.
Okay, I'm not good with that.
I know, but anyway, but getting away from that, no, it was great, and I still think.
And you love this song, you're saying, in an emotional way.
Well, it is because it says a lot. It does that, and Chris Cornell's "Till the Sun Comes Back Around" from our movie from 13 Hours are probably the two best, to my opinion. The words, not just the music, but the words. And then Keith Urban's, was Keith Urban, is that his name? The country singer that
Yeah.
sang the lead song for Act of Valor. Those three songs. If you listen to the words of the three songs, those things speak volumes of to what it actually is like. I mean, it brings memories.
It says "For You" by Keith Urban.
For You. Those three war songs are the best war songs, and really do, in my opinion, for me, take me back to Global War on Terror. Take me back not just to Benghazi, but to Iraq and Afghanistan and all the things I saw. And I teared up because I wasn't thinking about Top Gun or the song. The song is a good song too. And but it was like, man, I started to think about just things like that happened. Guys lost even details, blood, but then also just being gone from the family. You're like, holy shit. You're thinking back, and then you're thinking, man, I'm missing my 18-year-old son again. Yeah, because he's 5 and I'm not seeing him. All those emotions just come in like that, and I understand how they can overtake you, because that's the demons coming. The demons are coming back. They're good emotions, but they're still demons coming back to overtake you and overtake me. And so, yeah, I teared up a little bit, but then I looked around and was thankful for where I was at, and I think that teared me up even more. So what I'm getting at is guys, those demons will always come, and don't try to not make them come. I think that's where we lose the fight. You just have to fight them off. It's just like he went into that room and he got hit whatever many times, countless times.
Yeah, 27,
27, clearing to the left, clearing whatever side room he was on. All right, those are those demons that are hitting you, and he fought them off. All right, and he kept going, and he got hit again. Those are some more demons that are hitting you. Those bullets are the demons. Think of it that way if you have to. And they're hitting you, and you got to keep fighting through them, because you got to win that fight. And you got to win that fight because there's people that love you, that want you to be around, and you still have a lot of life to live and to give to other people. And that's what he did eventually by giving to that family, by helping them get out of the house. It is the same analogy, guys. It's just spiritual and the other one's physical. And that's where I was like, that's why when those demons come, I let them come, and I'll make friends with some of them, but I'm going to fight most of them off. But some of those I do need, like some of them I do need to remember. That's why I do watch 13 Hours at least once a year. I got to remember it, because I went through it, and I want to feel that pain again, and that happiness and that elation. I want to be on that roller coaster at least once in a year again, because that's part of my life, and I accept that. So it's that when we try to push those things we went through away, brother, that's when we have problems. It's when we try to minimize them, or we try to just desensitize ourselves from them. Don't let them come in. Tear up out of nowhere. That's okay. That's what we're okay to do that. And if it's songs or movie or talking to a friend and something, or a smell, and it just makes you tear up, that's okay. Let it come. And then find something positive, push it off. I went through it. That was all it was. It was awesome. It was awful, whatever. And then look around and be like, man, I am glad I'm here. I'm going to win this fight. And sometimes you have to do that every day. When I'm speaking on the road for a month, I'll be honest, bro, I do that every day. Every day after I get done speaking, I have to fight those demons off for a month. And I even told my wife this the last time I came home from that last speaking trip. It felt like a deployment, because I was gone for about a month, man. And I was like, I had to reacclimate for 30 days till I felt like I was home again. It felt like this was a deployment.
That actually ties into what I kind of started the show with my announcement, right? That I left something that would have paid more than I have ever gotten paid in my life. But it wouldn't be worth it in terms of my lifestyle, right? Do you think doing these speaking engagements on the road constantly is
it's starting to, that's why I've started to cut them down. They can be detrimental when I overdo it. But that's why I am slowly again. And because it is how me and my family make the big chunk of our income. I am an
but it is interesting because and you could tell me, I don't think you feel the same way when you do a firearms course. You seem to really love doing that. And it's not,
sometimes it wears me out. If I do the 2-dayers, sometimes do wear me out, because not the firearm side, but everything that's after, because everybody wants to come and ask and sign books, and it turns in, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But they want to ask questions, and it does wear me out. A 2-dayer wears me out. That's why you'll see even this year, I have 1 2-day course and the rest are 1-dayers. 1-dayers are perfect. Get out there. I can shoot with them. I'm motivated. I can get those questions out about, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this? They can ask me political stuff they want to. and then I can come home. And
Yeah.
and if I'm home, that's another. It's got to be home. If I'm traveling to them, they wear me the fuck out. They do. The
Well,
two
that's the
dares
thing. I mean,
especially.
you're sort of, well, not sort of, you are your own boss with what you do. So you could just strictly do 1-day courses and
And
strictly do this many speaking engagements a year. So
that's exactly, you and I have talked. That's exactly what I'm doing. I've
yeah.
cut it now. I'm doing this year. I told Jay over there at Kepler Speakers Bureau to take great care of me. Jay Conklin, who's my main contact, he's one of the vice presidents over there, and Rachel Keeling, who does most of my stuff. They're so awesome to me. And that's what I tell them. And, you know, and we could book me 60 dates a year. I really
Yeah.
think that. And I tell them, no, 15 tops. That's it. And this is where they've got to be at. And this is where I don't want to, you know, I've been able to kind of be, I guess it can come off as pretentious a little bit, but it's my health. It's my mental health. And it does, if I do too many a year, it does get to my head. Yeah. So I don't need to do that because I want to be home. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's exactly how I felt earlier this week. It was detrimental to my mental health. And it was like, that is what comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who like, just like with media, right? Who love being on mainly like Congress people, right? They love being on TV constantly. To the point where you're like, do these people even work? Like they
I
just
know.
minutes every day and radio. And it's like, do you actually read any bills? Do you, you know,
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, the same thing with what you do. I guess that there's like, you know, a Tony Robbins out there who I think it'd be hard to fake. Like, I think a guy like Tony Robbins loves this. And that's why he's been doing it for years and years. And he's constantly, he probably, if I had to guess, probably does like 5 times the amount of speaking engagements.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
hell yeah.
I mean, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes with him, but you know, as an observer, it at least appears to be that he thrives with this, and that's fine. That's what works for him.
Well, that's what there are people that have that narcissistic personalities a bit, and to be a public speaker, you have to have a little bit of it. You do. You have to, because people are looking at you, and if you're not comfortable with people looking at you, then you're not going to be a good public speaker. You're not. But I think it gets to a point like when I was doing those. I think one year I did 75. I mean, that's a lot in a year.
It is.
And you start to get by. That was when I was having the issues, though, the most mental issues, though, but the ego got huge. You do. People, because people are coming up to you, and the speaking events are always positive, and they're coming. They want to see you. They want to touch you. They want to hug you. They want to, and you do. You get a big head. You do. And to say Tony, I don't know Tony Robbins, but I would put dollars to donuts that, yeah, he's got probably a pretty good sized ego. And that's why he probably keeps doing it. Plus he gets paid a shitload of money. He gets paid a lot more than I do, guys, honorariums. Believe me. But there is, on the public speaker side, the people that want to keep getting out there in front. It starts as helping people, but it morphs into look at me, look at me, look at me. And I you know, he may have disagree. I mean, I don't know him, but I would bet that's probably where it's at now, more so. Granted, he still is helping people. I know he is. He's a great. I've watched his video. That's how I learned. One of the guys I used to watch to learn how to speak. I would watch to see how he did things. Him and Jim Valvano and Matt Eversman and Kenny Thomas. I'd watch those 4 guys speak because that's what I wanted to kind of emulate when I spoke. But I can tell you though, yeah, I would say, I would bet, and I could be wrong, but I would bet that a lot of it now is that you're feeding your ego. Because I know that it's easy to feed that ego when you're doing it all the time and you're not home. You get gassed up with yourself. Oh, fucking New York term for third base, man. You're getting gassed up with yourself. You're getting your head.
Yeah, I remember that.
I love third base, man. Fucking those guys I still got their shit. I love that shit. Prime Minister Pete, nice. But you know, you do. You gas up your head, and that's when it starts to not be good for your mental state. And that's, I know what that feels like now. So that's why after that month, it's like, I got to get home. I don't want to do, and I haven't done any for, you know, it's been 2 months since I've been back out on the road because I needed that, get home and hey, take out the trash, do the dishes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yelled at by you to be just how we all should be. And that's just be good, normal
That's
people.
also why to me, like I was talking about the whole office environment, when people's whole lives become like going out, you know, to dinner and drinks with the people you work with, and like that's your entire life. My best friends in the world are guys that go back to with from like elementary school, many of them, and high school. And dude, they could care less that I do podcasts. They don't really know what I talk about. And that's cool. Like, I don't want to talk about this with them. I want to talk about just other things. And yeah, my job and my, I guess, public persona doing podcasts, and all, like that, it's just a small element of who I am. And I think like my good friends know the real me. You know, not everything going on in my life is going to be talked about on the podcast. Like, I just want to interview interesting people, and every now and again we'll talk about other stuff. Do you mind if I ended? I'll end this on like something kind of like fun, I thought, or sort of, but at least interesting to me, because we did say we'd talk about the live stream. So yesterday, as we were recording this, the guys from the Team House, Jack and Dave, did a 12-hour live stream from Brooklyn. So they invited me to come on. And at first I was like, hey, I'm going to be working at Newsmax because I do this nighttime show, but then I left there. So I was actually able to drive from Long Beach over to Brooklyn, which is a pretty long drive, to do the Team House. And we saw some familiar faces. Alana Duffy was there, who's been on the show. Yeah. And Alana has since, the leg that was amputated, she has tattooed a huge part of that leg. But they all three of them, Dave, Jack, and Alana, I will say, are like some of the nerdiest veterans I've ever met in my life. They're the polar opposite of the vet bro type. And I know you always say you're not a vet bro type, but you are a total vet bro compared to them.
I am. No, you're right. I agree with you on that one.
Because Alana Duffy, like, you would think, right, military veteran who had to amputate the leg in combat, it's probably going to be like all American flag tattoos and eagle, and no.
Was it Dungeons and Dragons shit? It was Dungeons and Dragons.
This was a full Star Trek theme tattoo. She was like, "This is
that's right,
saying from Star Trek, and this is a symbol from Star Trek." And she's telling, it's on the stream. She tells me the whole meaning, because I've never even watched Star Trek.
Oh, so, dude, I remember us talking about, are we Star Trek or Star Wars? Star Trek. I love even the new Star Trek, man. I just watched the new Star Trek Into Darkness. I watched the movie just 2 nights ago. Love Star Trek. So that so hurt. And you're right. They are a lot nerdier than me. Yeah.
Which I'll get into why they're a lot nerdier than you and me too, is that, so it's a live stream and they have a good like 100 people in there watching at a time. It's actually a pretty big audience because they're going 12 hours. I'm surprised the people are still watching.
Crap,
but and a lot of people in the chat know me, because I mean, you got to keep in mind, I did a podcast with Jack for like 5 years, and SOFREP was very big at one point. And so these are people, many of them, who haven't heard from me in 3 years. They don't even know what I'm up to. And they're like, wow, it's great to see Ian. And I kind of wanted to chat with the listeners and give an update what I'm up to and talk about our podcast and plug it. But Jack and Dave's plan was for us to play this role-playing game, which lasts like 4 or 5 hours. And it was called like Call of Cthulhu or something, however you pronounce it. I'm thinking the Metallica song. I know it's based off, and have you ever played these role-playing games?
No, fuck no. I don't even know what that is. What the hell is a role-playing game?
It's all these like 12-sided, I barely know. It's like these 12-sided die things, and you have to choose a character. And my character was like a British guy who's a scientist.
So
I'm like, supposed to play this British guy who's a scientist for the audience and be like, gentlemen, I can't do British accent. There's a murder in the hallway, but they're not even doing this as parody. They love this. Jack and Dave and Alana, they love these role-playing games. I was sitting next to a firefighter who's former military. He had no idea what the hell was going on. I had no idea what the hell was going on. I love those guys, but I was very bored with it at a certain point. I had to leave at a certain point, because I was like, it's like 10 p.m. guys. I appreciate coming by, but I'm inviting me, but I'm getting out of here. And so people don't know this, and we talked about it during the podcast, and this tells you a lot about Jack and Dave. When I left SOFREP and Jack left SOFREP, his plan was not to start the Team House, and it was not to start a military podcast. Jack started a company called Mandatory Fun. And what he wanted to do when he got that studio was do role-playing games every week with Dave and other people. And they had Dungeons and Dragons camera, and, they're dressing up as these characters and playing the part. And they even said it. Dave said there were probably like 3 people watching the live stream. It never went anywhere. And then they kind of went back to their roots and were like, let's have special operations military guys on. And then it blew up around the time they had Mike Vining, and they're very successful. But at their heart, those guys love the Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Yep.
Yeah. It is no offense, but it's just not for me.
I used to play Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. I never did the role playing games, but the dice game, and I thought that was kind of cool. But also,
don't you role play in Dungeons and Dragons? Don't you play like a dungeon master?
Well, you do. You have to do the voices though. I mean, you can just play it like you're a dungeon master, or you're a dwarf, or you're a wizard, and there's a 12-sided die, other dice, and you roll it, and you're fighting. Man, it's been such a long time. Yeah, I guess it is a role playing game, but we never got into it where you did the voices and all that other. That's nerdy. You did seriously. L7 weenie. Are you square?
And that's why I say they're the least bro vets I know. And actually, you know who else is? And I'm going to have him on the podcast. He's a guy you introduced me to. Chris Dykos is the least bro vet that I know, more so than anyone. To the point, you know what was crazy? You're gonna say Chris Dykos is out of his mind for this one.
What do you do now? What do you do now, Chris? What the fuck did you do now, dude?
The reason I'm thinking of having Chris Dykos on that would be interesting is I'm a hockey fan. I'm wearing the Islanders hat, but I'm casual. But Will Chiarucci, who we've had on the podcast, is diehard. He's gone to every single hockey arena. He has season tickets to the Islanders, insists on going to every game. And the Islanders are probably going to be in the wild card, and so are the Seattle Kraken. And Chris Dykos is a huge Seattle Kraken fan. So I was like, let's get both of them on. Let's do something different. We'll talk hockey. And I said to Chris Dykos, I was like, you know what? We could tie it into the military, because I know that every Islander game, for example, they honor a veteran every game. And the whole crowd stands up and applauds, and they chant USA. And I didn't know this, but I knew it from Chris now and Will. They do that in every NHL game.
Oh, wow.
I
didn't know that.
Me and Will, who are not veterans, right? We're like, I think it's awesome. I love that they do that. Leave it to Chris Dykos to go, I think it's kind of overkill. Like, I don't know why they have to do this every game. I'm like, why? It's great. Why not? He's like, I don't know. Can't they honor a fireman or something? I don't know why they have to honor military every game.
That makes, if he would have went, the route I'm going, because Chris is if he would have said what I thought he was, we'll leave it at that, since we're going to keep this podcast positive. But yeah, that'd be cool. Honoring
Chris also
first
said,
responder or something. Yeah.
The other thing Chris said, and I mean, I think he'd be public about it. And we'll probably talk about it on the podcast in the coming weeks. You won't be on it, but he said, he thinks it's kind of phony. I guess Chris thinks, he goes, if people are so into honoring the military, how come so few serve? But I coming from a perspective of a civilian, I mean, I have all the respect in the world for military. It's just not the path that I took. But it's not a phoniness thing. If I stand up and chant USA when they honor a military veteran, a combat veteran, I love it.
I think that's coming from you. It's probably better than something coming from me, and that's what you should say. I mean, that's why we do it. Just what you said. There you go, Chris. There's your answer right there. Because you're right. Is it phony? Yeah, I do. I think some people just do it just to do it. Maybe, but I think the majority of them are like yourself. They do honor veterans. They do honor the people that serve. They're happy they served, and it gives them a chance to honor them, but they don't go outlandishly over the top about it all the time, because then it would be phony. So I think the way they do it makes it not phony, because it's just every once in a while. It's not every goal they're honoring a veteran. No, it is overkill.
Yeah, it's every game, and they do it another time in between periods. They do it, and you know what they do that's really cool? You know what? I'm gonna go in my closet and show you.
Yeah,
I have a Sorokin jersey, like an authentic Sorokin. Give me 1 second. So I'll show you what they do.
All right, I'm here by myself. I'm making finger puppets.
What were you saying?
I'm making finger puppets while I'm here by myself. Actually, gang signs is really what I'm doing.
So I figured, I just also think this is a cool jersey, so I'm just whipping it out. So this is my, with this stupid blurring of the camera thing.
Come right to the middle, right to the middle, right to the middle.
So this is, I know it's all blurred. I don't know why. It's because I put the blurred background on there. Anyway, you get my point. We can see. You get my point. But anyway, so the reason I took it out is because with the military veteran, they'll bring out, there's a lot of classic players from the Islanders who now work for the organization, like Butch Goring. and they'll have like Butch Goring come out and bring out one of these authentic Islander jerseys with the veteran's name on the back, present it to them. Like, I think it's such a cool experience for these guys, because a lot of them really are diehard fans. You know, I think there's a lot of guys who served from Long Island, and women, right? And just like you talk about with music and stuff, I think like following the games while they're overseas is probably like one of the things that makes it feel like home for them. And when they get to go home and go back to UBS Arena and see a game in person, it's probably like, wow, welcome back. And it's probably so cool to see them honored like that, I would think.
I agree with Chris. I think it would be cool to mix up veterans and then honor a first responder as well, you know, or a first responder. When I say that, that's not just firemen and police officers, but it's also EMTs. It's also nurse, you know, seeing what are the LPNs, like nurses and doctors. And I think that'd be cool. I think anybody that serves to help and save other people's lives should be honored. So I got no issue with that. But to say that it's over, I get where he's coming from. I do. But he's also in an area where maybe it does feel more. Come on, you're in the Northwest.
Yeah,
it's not exactly the most. Even though we've got shitloads of bases up there, we've got special operations troop, you got tons of military people up there. I wouldn't say it's the most military friendly area of the nation. And if I think stereotypically the stereotype there is correct as far as honoring, I mean, you come to the Midwest, fuck yeah, they're on. Yeah. This is Midwest. You go north, they're going to honor veterans, and they do have a very high respect for veterans and also first responders. We're Northwest, maybe not as much. I mean, again.
No, he even acknowledged that while we were texting. He was like, "This is a very liberal area." He said, you know, and it is. And actually, where I'm from, right, people would think because it's New York, but we're not New York City. It's a little bit different.
Long Island's different. You're well, shit. Isn't that where Hannity lives? Doesn't Hannity live on? Sean Hannity live on Long Island?
I don't know if he moved. He's from here. He moved. He may be in Florida now, like everybody else.
But... And Naples. That's right, Naples area. Somebody told me that, but I don't stalk Sean Hannity. I give a fuck where he lives. We're just pointing this out. But that's just. I think removing it though is not the right thing to do either, because then you're forgetting. No, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So Chris,
people love it. They really do love it. People, like, everybody stands up for it. Everybody applauds. And I really do feel that it's genuine from so many people.
I do. And it makes people proud of being American. So Chris, come on, dude, get out of that Northwest liberal mentality. You can still be proud to be an American, regardless of where you live. And I think that's what honoring veterans does. It may not just be I'm honoring this veteran. It's you're proud to be an American. And that's something that's still important. It needs to be put out there even more so now. And even if it's just in that little bit during the beginning and then the middle of the game, you're making people feel proud to be Americans. Well, we need to bring that back even more so now. And I do think it's coming back. It's just going to take a lot of time because we let it get away from us for many, many years.
But I don't know. I mean, I think people still are. There was a survey recently that was covered all over the news, you know, about younger people. And yes, I do think like Gen Z, it's a problem. I think people my age and older, it's not. I think people in their 30s and up, I think they are very proud of the country. I think it's like a Gen Z thing right now. And I think there's reasons for it. Blame a lot of things. I blame the news media. I blame where the country's gone. I do think going into a war that people go, what did we actually accomplish, changes people's minds, you know?
And you know what, maybe we should look back at that. I think all of us younger generations aren't as patriotic as the older generations. I think that's a testament from over time for many years. I don't think that's
it might be different. But this particular survey
was it bad?
A big one. Yeah, let me see if I can just pull it up because whatever, why not? Because it was covered everywhere. All right, so this is New York Post coverage. It was covered so it's a Wall Street Journal survey found that just 38% of Americans say patriotism is very important to them, down from 70% who said the same in 1998.
Wow.
Slightly more Americans, 39%, placed the same importance on religion, down from 62% who said faith was very important to them 25 years ago. And then it's also the percentage of Americans who said raising children was very important, fell to 30% in the new poll, down from 59% in 1998. So yeah, I think a lot of that is younger people. Maybe some of it is older people. I think there's a lot of reasons for it, like the family thing. I think it's the cost of living being so high that a lot of people can't afford to have a family. But some people also don't, I don't know, like right now in my life, it's not like an aspiration of mine. I don't know, maybe in the future, but yeah, the patriotism thing, yeah, it's definitely troubling. I also think people focus too much on who the politicians are. Like that should have nothing to do with patriotism. If Trump is the president, they're like, I don't like this country, or Biden's the president, and I don't think that has anything to do with the country. So
I agree with you on that one, dude. So Gen Zers, pull your fucking heads out your asses. All right. And you can hit me up all you want, because you really do. You really do. You pull your heads out your asses and just start loving this country again, because this is the greatest country in the world. And if you don't believe me, again, sign up for the military, go overseas and go check that shit out. Go live that life, and then maybe you'll come back with a different perspective. And if you don't want to, this is old Tonto. This is Dad Tonto. Shh, just quiet, be quiet. But
you know what the problem is too, though, is yeah, it's also with our show, right? As you're saying that, I look at the demographics, and our show, it's like 30 plus. That's who listens to our show. And if they're listening to our show, they like, we're preaching to the choir. It's like a lot of these people on TikTok and all that. So I have to ask them. So if you have never seen it, that means you have not been to a pro NHL game in like at least a long time.
It's been a while. The last hockey game I went to, though, I did get to go see the national. I was during the 13 hours thing. The University of Minnesota. It was the national championship game. It was University of Minnesota versus Michigan, and they invited us. Actually, I got my Minnesota Gophers jersey. It says Tonto on the back of it. Nice. And they invited us to go see the national championship game during the 13 hours. That was awesome, dude. Minnesota people, they get fucking A. They're crazy. And that was an awesome game. And Minnesota kicked the shit out of Michigan. It was like 6-0 national championship. That was the last one I saw, the last NHL game I saw. Shit, probably when I was in college, I think it was. Jeez. And I saw it was the Avalanche. And it was when was it Grant Fur? He just got traded, and the Avalanche was really good. Is it Grant Fur, the hockey goalie?
I'll check, because this is before I was probably following.
It's when he got traded to the Avalanche, and they got really good. They got this goalie that was amazing, and he came from Edmonton. This Edmonton championship teams with Gretzky and Messier, and that's how long ago it was. So that was a long time.
That's a long college. Yeah,
that was the 90s. Yeah, 90s.
Wow. Yeah, I'd have to. I don't see who it is, but yeah, you should go to a game, man. I think you'd have a great time.
I love hockey. No, hockey games are fun.
They are. And
honestly, I thought, just like anything else, the college, that atmosphere up there. I mean, it was in the Coliseum. It was huge. It was just like a pro hockey. I got box seats. I'm up there. I love that, up there eating and drinking and eating, all the hockey stuff, and amazing just watching it. All of a sudden you hear the roar of the crowd, and you run back from getting your tacos, and you go and you watch, because that's how hockey is. It's very slow, and then all of a sudden you just hear the whole arena start to erupt. Holy shit, something's happening. You run down and you see that scrum, or somebody's on a breakaway, and they're gonna. I know it wasn't pro, but man, that national championship game, NCAA national championship hockey, especially is in Minnesota, cool. That's a pretty big deal.
I'm just surprised all those times you were in New York, that because you were in Manhattan most of the time, that you didn't see a Ranger game or something.
I should have. I just really didn't think about it at the time. And hockey's one thing I do still enjoy watching in person. The rest of the stuff, I don't care to. I went to a Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm going to call you out. How could you enjoy watching it in person if you haven't gone since college?
When I have gone to a hockey game, I went to the national championship. I did enjoy that. But I guess I just don't enjoy it enough to go buy a ticket and go sit in the stand. If the opportunity is there and I'm there, I'm like, hey, let's go see a hockey game. But for me to go, hey, I'm going to fly to New York and go to a hockey game, nah, that's not.
Well, you'd be, as you said, Colorado Avalanche would probably be, right? That's the closest team to you.
Yeah, there's nothing in Kansas City, is there? Wait, does Oklahoma have a hockey?
I don't even know. Oklahoma? I should know this.
I thought Oklahoma had a hockey.
Do they? And I think you're right. Wait, I'm losing train of thought here. Oklahoma.
I know.
I know they have the Thunder. We're seeing Oklahoma NHL team. No, this is the Oklahoma City Barons. But we're a professional hockey team. So
no, I guess it would be. It'd be because there's no hockey teams in Texas either.
Well, dude,
what happened to Dallas?
Yeah, the Dallas Stars, and the Dallas Stars play Pantera when they score a goal.
Yeah, that's 6 hours. That's not Dallas is only 6 hours away from me. It's not far. It's actually closer in Denver. And yeah, I would go see the Dallas Stars play. We'll make it happen, man. We'll make that happen.
I think you got to come to New York. We'll do a podcast. We'll do a hockey game. Okay. And because you haven't been in New York since the first podcast. You should come visit. It'll be a good time. And the other thing that I want to do at the team house, because I realize this, if you come by and you're able to go to Brooklyn and do a team house, I would like you to be a part of this because I pitched it to them. I think it's much better and cooler than playing Dungeons and Dragons. I've had this idea for years, I swear to you, but I don't know the technology to do it. So D from the team house knows how to make it so that if you're watching something, they could show it on the screen and they could show us in high def type of thing. Because during the live stream, they were playing this Ninja Turtles video game, which I would have been more into earlier in the stream. And you saw them playing Ninja Turtles, but you saw the screen in high resolution. So here's what an idea I've had for years. I would like me, Jack Murphy, if Dave's there, Dave, Mike Binns, because Mike Binns from the Will Cavicardi is hilarious.
Yeah, he's fucking
and quick-witted.
Mike's awesome.
And if you're there, I'd like you to be a part of this. I want us to watch the Dennis Rodman documentary, The Big Bang in Pyongyang.
I have not seen that. Korea. Is that any good?
It's insane. Yeah. And I want us to do live commentary of it. And that's why I'd be perfect because you've never seen it. It's Dennis Rodman completely drunk in North Korea, meeting with Kim Jong-un, acting crazy, singing happy birthday to him in the stands. I mean, the whole thing is not, it's one of the craziest documentaries I've ever seen in my life. So I think us just in a room commenting on that would be live stream gold.
We'll make it happen one of these days. It will happen. It will happen. No when, but it will happen, man. That'd be fun. That would be. That'd be cool.
Well, anyway, is there anything else?
I don't know. Did we have? I know I had one not an email, but I got a DM or a comment in Instagram, and I don't usually read them. We're famous last words. Everybody says that, but I did see one of the comments I posted about me lifting, and it asked about diet. And I figured, well, shit, we're on here. Might as well answer me. Hey, Chris, you post these workout pictures. What about diet? And all I can tell you guys is I don't diet. I eat what I want to eat. I just eat it in moderation. I think that's the biggest thing is if you're going to be working out, you're going to be active, or even if you're not, just don't overeat. Guys, I still eat shitloads of M&Ms. And now I say in moderation. For me, a shitload is probably, I eat a pack of M&Ms. I probably do a day. And M&M I do. But I also work out a ton. So all I tell you is, and whatever you do is just, whatever it is just in moderation. Eat a lot of protein, take Bubs. Dude, Bubs is, I'm not just selling that stuff. I'll be honest, we take it. And then eat your fruits and vegetables. For those of you that have anything with your stomach, eat an apple a day. An apple a day will help clean you out tremendously, and it's good for you. And then drink a ton of water. But I think it's where people get on diets and they quit, and then they get workout, then they have this relapses that they try to do stuff to the extremes instead of just being moderate. Just be moderate. I work out a ton, but that's that allows me to eat the M&Ms that I want during the day. So I don't do any crazy diets. I try to eat clean, which means I try to eat, I grill steaks, put steaks on the grill. I try not to eat a ton of processed food. It's not good for my stomach anyway, so I can't, because it really upsets it because of my ulcerative colitis. But I think eating clean, you'll find yourself after about a month or two and I say clean stuff you buy at the store, as clean as you can get it. You don't have to go to Whole Foods and spend $20 on an apple. Don't do that.
I do love Whole Foods personally.
It's just, man, they do, but it's just so damn expensive now. But Whole Foods does have good. But I said you don't have to do that. You can go to just go to a grocery store, buy stuff out of the fridge and eat stuff you make and be clean with it. And then just do it in moderation. Eat a decent meal in the morning if you can. If not, it's no big deal. Eat something in the afternoon. I usually eat a pack of tuna or something light in the afternoon with a lot of fruit, a lot of cheese and vegetables. And then at night I'll eat my big meal. So that's it. That's really it. I don't do anything special. And you don't need to be doing that HGH. You don't need to be doing that steroids, even though I would say probably 75% of the country is on that shit.
And
male,
you know what? I'll add this. You see more and more women doing it.
and man, women, it's not good for you guys. Take it from somebody who used to sell that shit in college and used to take it. All it does is destroy your joints. It does. It destroys it plays with your emotions. It fucks your head up. It makes you angry. It makes you aggressive. You don't need to be that way.
You know what? Could I throw something in there?
Yeah,
We won't
of
get into
course.
it in depth, but people don't want to say it, right? The school shooter who was transgender, it's a girl taking testosterone. I'm just gonna
Testosterone.
leave it at that.
Hey, well, and that's we've known that for years. This is nothing new. If it does, it messes up your psyche. It does. It makes you aggressive. That's what testosterone does. And also, you know what else it does? It just over time frame, it stops your body from producing testosterone. So you're
If you're
going to
a
have,
male, once
if
again,
you're a
if you're a
male,
male.
say if you're a male, and if you're a man, if you're male, and that means you're going to have to continue to take it, and it will shorten
Yeah.
your lifespan. So don't do that shit. Just eat clean, take bubs, you know, and just everything in moderation, and get some workout in at least, I would say 4 days a week. I work out 6 days a week and I take 1 day off. But I worked up to that for many, many years. I didn't start that way. So and then if you feel like you need to take a day, but there are days where you're like, man, get up and go do something and you'll feel tons better. But that's all. I'm sorry. I know we're doing some emails. That was
No, it's
one
fine.
I kind of had, but that was it, man.
Yeah, I'll add something to that, and then we'll end it there. I think I would give maybe a little bit stricter advice, like
Well,
when
yeah,
I was
and you're a
when I-
person. Give your back. You're personal.
yeah,
You
I'm
do.
a certified personal trainer.
You're
I still
educated.
keep up with it, even though I'm not actually training people right now. Like tomorrow, I have to go to a course because every 2 years I got to
Sure.
recertify.
Yep.
So I take courses throughout the months and get this thing recertified. But this sounds like way more of a pain than it is. But when I was at my peak strength, and there was a period in 2019 where I thought I looked pretty good. Right now, I haven't been able to as much because moving from Connecticut to New York, and just I've been more
You're
busy.
still in
but-
shape, dude. You're
Thank
not.
you, man.
You don't got the. I mean, I could tell if you were getting a little bit of the fat in the face. I'd tell you, but
Yeah,
you're still
but I'm definitely I'll be the first to say I'm not like shredded right now or any of that. I'll get back to it. But anyway, at my peak, I was using that MyFitnessPal, and I wasn't super strict to the point where you're saying these people who are like, I got to cut out all carbs. I got to just nothing like that. But the one thing I would recommend people do, I would say, and like you said, start to cut down calories slightly if that's what you're looking to do. If you're looking to put on weight, the opposite of that. But this is the hardest thing to do, and people don't really. It's hard to know that you're doing this unless you're tracking it. If you're trying to put on muscle, they recommend you're getting 0.8 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I've mentioned that in the Bubs reads, and people don't realize that, yeah, I mean, scientifically, that's what you have to be doing. So what, and people are like, what do I have to do? Do I have to do grilled chicken? Do I have to do salmon? It's like, no, whatever you enjoy.
Yeah.
Even if you're a vegan, right? There's vegan sources of protein, but you have to get that amount of protein in. And yeah, unless you're doing something extreme, which I wouldn't recommend, you don't have to cut carbs. You don't have to cut fats. You might want to lessen them over time. But yeah, you do want to be getting enough protein in. And for you, if you enjoy to do more steak, or you enjoy more chicken or fish, that's what you'll stick with. And as you said, less processed crap, less fast food. It doesn't mean you can never have that stuff. I don't
No,
I think
have
like,
a cheat day.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it as a personal trainer? Would you, hey, it's okay to have a cheat day every once in a while, which I do.
Yeah, or I would even say for some people, like if you're eating 3 meals a day or 4 meals, right? And like 2 of them or 3 of them are very clean, and then 1 of them is a cheeseburger or something, that's fine. I think. I think as long as like 75% of what you're eating is good, wholesome food.
Yeah.
And then, the other 25% you're enjoying, you're out with family. Yeah, I mean, because you're going to disappoint yourself probably if you're trying to do what some bodybuilder is doing for contest prep, and they'll all say that they're miserable at a certain point.
And that's not healthy.
Yeah,
and that's not healthy for you. It is not, man. If you're a runner or you're active and you get out and ride bikes, you need those carbs, guys. You need that sugar. You need a little bit of that salt. You don't moderation. Everything I said is moderation. I agree. I think when Chris Beck was on the show, we did talk about moderation on everything a little bit. I thought we did, but if not, forgive me, Chris. I'm giving you kudos because I know you said it somewhere, but everything in moderation is where it needs to be at. Never on extremes of anything. you'll have a great, fun, healthy life. And I agree with you, bud. So I forget who asked that question. It was on Instagram, but I wanted to answer it because I do think people, because of the way I look, they think I diet. No, I just work out and I eat what I want, but I just, in moderation, I don't overdo it. I don't go eat a whole pie by myself or 8 candy bars or 10 steaks. It's moderate. And when I'm full, I'm full. It's called discipline. I know.
And can I throw something out there? Just being truthful. You stay in good shape year round, right? And you do. I've seen you. However, people might have the impression that which cover was it? Ballistic magazine?
Ballistic.
That's not what you look 365 days out of the year like.
Well, and that's thing on that Ballistic cover, I had just eaten before we did that.
I remember you told me you were eating like nachos.
Nachos.
Right?
I ate a plate of freaking nachos, and then before we ate and at that time too, I was running a shitload more because at that time too, my head was so fucked up. So the only outlet I had, if it was either this, which was not good, or I would run. Man, I was probably running 70 miles a week, which honestly, again, it's not really healthy either because I wasn't eating as well as I probably should have. I'd gorge myself like that, the nachos, and then I wouldn't purge. Don't do that crap. But then I go run and work out and that wasn't good either. I'll be honest. I think my body was breaking down a little bit. It might have looked good. I was like I call it glass house. It might have looked good. Decent, but on the inside, I was all fucked up. But I don't look like that, and I don't want to look like that. 800. In fact, I like how I look now. This is how I want to be, just in shape. Maybe showing some striations a little bit, but I want to be able to where I just feel good. I can run 3 miles and go bike 10 miles on the Peloton and go then do workout after, and do 100 sit-ups and whatever. But I don't want to look like where I'm. Geez, I look like, where I'm way, like I'm dieting, like a bodybuilder diet. That wasn't healthy for me. But thank you for commenting on that. I'm saying the picture probably looked decent. So thanks.
Oh, it looks great. But that's also the whole social media vibe. People see pictures of people at their absolute best. They don't take what they look like every day. And they're like, wow, this is what this person looks like 365 days out of the year. And that's usually not true.
This is how I look. This is how I normally look. And this is how I like to look. And sometimes I get a little bit bigger. Sometimes I get a little bit smaller, but it just depends on the trip and how much I can get to the gym. But diet is huge important. Got to diet right. And just moderation, man. Moderation, don't overdo it. And if you want to eat a cheeseburger, eat a freaking cheeseburger. It's okay.
I agree. All right. Well, thanks for checking this out, guys. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We still have the Etsy store available, the Battle Line Podcast Vault. Maybe we'll add some stuff for the future, but check that out in the future. And we appreciate all of it. Subscribe wherever you're listening, and check us out on social media. And let people know that the shows are going to be up on Tuesdays now. That's going to be what we're doing. I'll probably change around the imaging a bit. I know Debbie sent me a new outro. Probably won't have it this show, but next show we'll have the new outro where she says Tuesdays instead of
That's awesome. So, hey, and tell Debbie when you talk to her more. That's what I listen to when I'm driving. More obscurities. I need some more obscurities podcasts, man. Those things are fucking awesome.
That's all for this episode of the Battle Line Podcast. But we'll be back on Monday with more American Straight Talk. Until then, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Battle Line Podcast and on Twitter at Battle Line Pod. To sign up for future Battle Line tactical courses, go to www.christantoparanto.net. Believe in yourself, face all challenges head on, and as always, never quit.